Hello students, once again welcome back to the online class. Now in the previous class we have learned about the four main parts of the computer. First one is keyboard, second one is monitor, third one is CPU, and the fourth one is mouse. Now we have learned about this the first one, the first part, the first main part, that is the keyboard. We have done this in the previous class. Now let's see what are these monitors and what are the functions, CPU and mouse. Koigi mamangi last class computer gi parts of the computer the topic parts of the computer the four main parts ne hai computer gi main parts se kari no maruiba parts mari du keyboard ne, monitor ne, CPU ne, mouse ne. Then keyboard say the first one, the first part keyboard se koi loi. Now let's see the remaining parts, that is the three remaining parts, the three remaining main parts, remaining three main parts of the computer, that is a monitor, CPU and mouse na kari no lo yengasi. Now as this is the second video session class of chapter of the topic, that is the parts of the computer. Now this keyboard we have already done. Now let's continue our class with the next topic, that is the mouse. Now the mouse is used to give instructions to the computer, draw and paint and play games. Now we all know a computer mouse. Now the picture shown here is a computer mouse. This is known as the right button, this is known as the left button, and this is known as the cable or the wire. Now today's this is a little older one. Nowadays in the middle you have a wheel here also. Okay, that is known as scroller. Mouse give instructions to the computer. Computer kari thabak tawdino habisi mouse na monda computer da command pidoi. Okay, draw to ba computer da mouse sijanaraga koina, like we use pen and pencil to draw on a blank paper. We can draw on the computer with the help. We can draw, we can paint. Okay, we can color, do some pictures drawn with the help of this mouse. Draw the way, paint the way, koina sida koina computer da command piba kai to ba thabak tawani habido koina mouse ki mating ina koina piba. Then play games. Now mouse na koina games hana basi. Now those who have computer at home must be playing games on computer with the help of mouse. It is easy to use mouse while playing games. Mouse gi left thang koina right button hai, oilom thang left button. See wires ne koina se cable hai si. Now huji ki koina paiba mouse se sina kitang old version ni ko mayai se do wheel ma yawi du koina scroller haina khangne ba koina. Okay, scroll wheel haga scroller haga khangne sida wheel ungthong ungnya ba ma koina game thana matamda left mouse button sina firing toba, right mouse button sina reload toba. Then wheels na we can change the weapon in playing games. Okay, or in for different games we use different function of the mouse button. Mouse button se any of the high hiba minor koina thamning ba function semaga thamba yai ba koina sanari ba game gi matungina. Okay, the mouse na kadeba is used to give instruction to the computer da and command piba computer da command p and draw to ba se koina drawing e ba se pen to ba machu sang ba su like koina pencil na yenga drawing e ko mai sang ba and game sana ba su mouse di amna handy way and it's very easy using while playing game to use a mouse. Okay, it's very easy to use a mouse. Okay, got it. Now let's see some more about mouse. Now the computer mouse has two or three buttons on it. As I told you, it may contain two buttons. Now in the first picture shown here, there it have only two button, right button, left button. Only two button is given here. While on the next page you can see here there is three buttons, maybe three buttons. Okay, right button, left button, and in this is a scroll wheel. Okay, Here also you can click, and it is known as middle click also. Now see we hana pi mouse na right button left button katang yawi mayagi scroll wheel sana hoji have to yawi na sana scroll wheel je yawe scroll wheels na kadawi scroll wheels da du ko click to way mouse ki. Okay, not only scrolling katang taba untuk mungkin katang tabida sida click to was way but na this is known as a middle click also. So here the mouse has 2 or 3 buttons, maybe 2 buttons obviously, or it may have 3 buttons on it also. Some mouse have a wheel in between the 2 buttons, between the right button and the left button. Some mouse have 2 buttons, like is shown in the picture here on the right side. You can refer here. Now mouse is connected to the CPU. Now this part of the computer, that is the mouse, is also connected to the CPU like keyboard. As I told you in the previous class, all the parts of the computer must be connected to the CPU. When mamang da koina haiba keyboard to CPU da sammi. Okay, likewise this mouse is also connected to the CPU. See, mouse is to CPU da sammi. All the parts should be connected to the CPU. When part computer part CPU da samgadamna si mouse is part of the computer ni is CPU da sammi. Now here comes the next topic, that is the next part of the computer, that is the CPU central processing unit. Okay, this is known as the brain of the computer, as I told you in the last class also. Now a large rectangular box having CD drive, floppy drive and a power button is CPU. Now a large rectangular shaped box having CD drive or maybe DVD drive or CD drive or maybe DVD drive, floppy drive. See, nowadays floppy drive is not used. Floppy drive or music floppy drive season address instead of floppy drive USB drive season and a power button power button to power on the CPU. The power button here is a small button here also. This is known as a reset button. CD drive. It may be CD drive OBI or it may be DVD drive OBI. Then the next is the floppy drive. Nowadays floppy drive is not used. This is known as the floppy drive. Okay. Now CPU is the brain of the computer. It solves the problems given to it. That is, the CPU completes the work given by the user. Now CPU is known as the brain of the computer as it solves every problems given to the computer. Okay, the CPU will complete the work given by the user, that is given by us. If we do something, if we give a command using the mouse, okay, to play a song, it will play the song. Akoina computer da command ama sigi sai se thara u wana command ama mouse ki mating na or maybe through keyboard ki mating na akoina command pi matam da computer na akoina pi ki command do adugi matung ina problem do solve to rakani habdi sai thara wali sai dum thara kani akoina kaino ma save to ro hairo akoina kaino ma game thanare hairo akoina to bu khuding mang je computer da akoina pi ba command khuding mang je computer lo ingani to ri bu khuding mang kanan to wi to ri bu khong je sigi rectangular box habdi je CPU je sidagi manung lo mo to wi ngakane do. So every work is done on the CPU. That is why the CPU is known as the brain of the computer, like a human brain. कोई human brain दोंगा computer जिना computer की brain हैगा CPU जी वो कोई ना computer की brain हैगा नहीं. Okay, don't forget this. CPU is known as the brain of the computer. Now CD and floppies are inserted in the CPU so that you can read them for you. When a CD, maybe a DVD, maybe floppies CD and nowadays floppies are not used. Floppies use season address. Okay, the CD DVD even pen drive also are inserted in the CPU da when you have so that you can read them for you. Mana read them habdi kaino play to na ba pabirak na ba koina pam na thabo to na bidamakta koina sigi singse loinamak CPU loinamak yawe kayo ba DVD yawe CD yawe copy yawe pen drive hamnaba pen drive port so loinama yawe sida. Now all the parts of the computers are connected to the CPU. Sigi CPU da hagi mouse is connected to the CPU, keyboard is connected to the CPU haije sigi rectangular box hai sida loinama connect tawdaba yade keno hanganda every work should be done on this CPU. Sigi CPU so loin thabak tawdinina so it should be connected manga samnadaba yade. So every part of the computer should be connected to this CPU. CPU sa loinama samgadaba ni. Okay, now next is the monitor. Monitor is kaino. Now it looks like a TV. Okay, TV ga chap mane ba si kari akoina sida monitor se computer ki monitor se okay TV ga chap mane. Now this is the CRT monitor hai mana computer achoba se sina picture contrast control button se yaw hinje ko aduga se power button se yaw re volume up down and it may contain some buttons also. Ilun yaw singse duga screen resolution sem na bazu yaw ise ko sisna CRT monitor hai ne duga akoigi sina kara chawba kara thaba haitare ko duga computer singse hojikandi yamna flat oina power in lai aduna koina LCD natraga LED monitor singse lai. Okay, but this is a CRT monitor hai ga khani koina. Now the monitor shows the result of work done by the CPU for the user. Now every work that is done on the CPU is displayed on the monitor for the user. User ki damakta haidi koin thabak tawriba koi ki damakta CPU sina kedoeba tawriba thabak khudimak se user na command pirani the CPU na tawriba thabak khudimak ki koina karai da uba phangi koina sigi monitor ji da uba phange. Okay, TV man base the monitors that like if we play a song, if we play a movie, a cartoon character, akoina cartoon animation nama yengyang those film mama ado akoina mouse ki through da natra keyboard ki through da koina play tawrab matamda kalai uba phangani koina keyboard to ugadra no, mouse to ugadra no, CPU to ugadra no, kai do uni judi monitor ji screen ji da uba phangini koina play the film movie. Okay, or you play some song, okay, music song tharing kalazi atu su sedum over phangdani. Or if you solve a sum like it is shown here in the monitor here in the figure here 20 plus 30 20 ga 30 ga plus to kya tare is equal to 50 minus koina tawriba thaba ko dimension u phangni. Or if you draw a picture with the help of mouse the high kibodo mouse na picture you pe computer you can draw picture here okay using pen thaina koina software me ko pen to the hangdoga pen ki application do hangdoga pen to the koina drawing and scenery and drawing and kalaji yekpa matamda yekpa loira kana koina you can draw colors also. You can paint with colors also. Hangi kudimang say where you can see that when hangi ba ye iba kudimang try uba pangani sige monitors the uba pangal through this monitor. Okay, every work done by the user is seen on this monitor. Now it has few buttons on it which can be used to set the contrast or picture size. The picture size same or contrast ngalhanba mamanba koi semba brightness semba contrast semba selema semba yai or even some extra buttons the volume up down to yawi and power button monitor on off to bagi power button yawi. Now it is connected to the CPU as I told you before. This is also the main part of the computer or a part of the computer, so it should be connected to the CPU. That is why it is also connected to the CPU, because the work shown by the CPU, the work done by the CPU will be shown on this monitor. CPU na tawriba thabak khudimang to monitor sida koina monitor screen sida uba phangadunina sigi monitor jisu must be connected to the CPU. CPU da connect tawdaba yade. I hope till here you have all understood clearly. ये कोई mouse हो रहे CPU हो रहे monitor हो रहे सी बोक्ता पसंद ज्ञान था ना खंगा मनियन खले. Okay, students, now let's continue with the next part of the computer, some accessories, some parts of the computer. Now there are many devices which can be connected to the monitor. Monitor connect oversee. There are some devices which can be connected to the computer. Computer have a computer connect to the each device has its own functions. These are also some parts of the computer. Some parts of these are also some devices or the parts of the computers which can be connected to the computer, that is the CPU. They also be connected to the CPU. Okay, now let's see the first one here, printer. Okay, the four main parts we have already done. The first one is keyboard, second one is CPU, then mouse, then monitor. Those are the four main parts of the computer. Now these are also the part of the computer. Okay, whatever work you do on the computer can be printed on a piece of paper with the help of a printer. Printer the kaygumba thabak ama, or if you want to take a printout of a document or an application at a document amagi printout loge hachi amagi printout loge hagadi koi kaigi mateng logani printer logani, or koina photo chamge hagachu photo do printout loge hagachu koi se loge, or your teachers may give some work, okay, to take the picture of some famous sports person. Then also you can search from the internet and take the picture, download the picture, then you can print that picture of the persons, then you can print on this printer. You can take the printout from by using the printer. When your printer is in the teachers in some famous sports persons ni mari natra manga gi photo picture lawraga porwa hari paper da, okay, as an assignment pidin khalagadi in internet gi famous sports persons manga natra mari thiraga adogi picture download tawraga printer gi matung ina koina printout uthopa yai na ko. That time we can use this printer. Koina yam maru ina koina passport size kumba chamba adagidi even in this you can take 3-in-1 printer which like scanner jawba, printer jawba, duga xerox jawba, lenamak to ya sida ko photocopy photopa yaba. Okay, this is a use for printer. This is the picture of a printer. Now the speakers. Now whatever the sound provided by the computer will come out through the speaker. Now the voice or sound or music or movies or games played on computer comes through speaker. See speaker jigi matung ina speaker yaw sound thoro. Okay, so these speakers must also be connected to the CPU, because we all know that every work is done on the CPU. Either this maybe this printer or this speaker CPU da loina connect to akoina si can music isai tage hairo cinema yengbagi song isai tabagi song game sanabagi song si speaker ji mateng thulakadoine. Now the next is a microphone. You can record your voice into your computer using this microphone. Microphone is computer voice record maybe in the form of songs or record using this microphone. Now these you must be very familiar with this. This is a joystick. Okay, game handle. Joystick is used to play games. It controls the movements of objects on the screen. The handle left, right, up, down. The handle to joystick. Now here completes our chapter. That is the parts of the computer. That is the main parts of the computer. Now let's see some exercises. It's just like a play. So it is known as a play time. Okay. Now the four main parts of the computers, main parts of marido kari no first keyboard. Now you can write here keyboard. When you say keyboard, then second one, mouse. The third one is CPU, and the fourth one is monitor. Now those are the four main parts of the computer. Computer की ख्वाइदगी मरुओइबा part मरी हाइरगदी first the keyboard, next the mouse, next the CPU, that is the central processing unit. Then number fourth na kari koina monitor. Okay. Now solve the riddles in makada pibasing yengasi. Sina koina pop kongumani ko. Now God has given brain to you. Koina ishona koina brain pibere, but the computer has a computer idi brain nga chang koina human brain nga chang dam nari sina kaino karamba pa no computer gi CPU. CPU is known as the brain of the computer having but the computer has a CPU. Ball, bat, birds, card, red, or short. Type them all using the word singsi wahi singsi kari na type to guni kari si karamba computer ki karamba part si na ko na type to guni si using the keyboard. So type them all using the keyboard. And draw a ball, tree, or house with this little and wonderful karina kari sijanaga koina drawing yekpa color sangba kari sijanaga tawni hanging asai dana koina sina mouse, with this little and wonderful mouse. Now to view your favorite cartoon or picture yenge hairagadi switch me on. I am a kanabu thagani koina yenge hairagadi koina cinema yengba film yengba animation cartoon yengba or isai taba to be hairagadi koina kari yengi kari kadai the ubo phangi hai sai monitor. Now you can write here monitor. Now listen to the songs of different singers. We are a pair of which is pair when nai karida isai je koina tage hairagadi different singers ki isai tage hairagadi isai je kari ki mateng na taw phangi phangi computer dagi speakers. You can write here speakers. Now want to print on paper. Print loge hairagadi paper da koi ai kari sijanagani use me I bu view. I am a printer. Koina printer se da say print. Now all the answers are given here. From this you have to choose and you have to fill up here. Kagani ko print to gana printer da say gana speaker, cartoon picture yeng gana monitor on torani ye ke gana mouse sijanarani type to gana keyboard sijanarani duga koi human brain piece mana computer ki kai CPU. Now let's see some more exercises. Now match the following. Monitor, what is this? One is given here, the C. Roman number C here is given here. This keyboard is used to type. Keyboard type to season A. Monitor is used to show results. Results to monitor da. CPU is used to solve problems. CPU no solve mouse draw and give commands. Speaker give sound. Speaker is sound joystick na play games. Microphone record voice. Microphone na voice record tawi. Now identify the following parts with the help of clue given. The piece singzagi ko identify to have any masak sa yengaga. Okay, you have to identify these pictures shown here. Now what is this? This is a mouse. M-O-U-S-E, mouse. You have to write like this. What is it? This is a CPU. CPU all in capital letters. Write like this. Now this is a. Now you can by seeing this picture you can see that this is a printer, and this also you can identify. Seeing the picture, this is a keyboard, and this is a microphone, and the last one very interesting one, which is all you know this is a joystick. Wai hujik tawgibasingdu computer ki main parts laire and some other parts karasu printer or microphone joystick karasu high grade sana do hujiki laiba sigi parts of the computer sigi topic sigi waina mana manang khanga maneng khale. Okay, ngasi di loisalasi. Okay students, stay home, stay safe and stay healthy.